is
episode 14.
14.
Yes.
I'm Jen.
I'm Tanya.
And I'm drinking creme brulee coffee today.
I am drinking French, well, it keeps messing up, vanilla French toast.
Vanilla French toast. And it smells good.
It's yummy. Mm-hmm.
Did you get 2 of those?
I did.
Well, I get to try it.
Because remember I said we could try the same ones today, but we didn't. We went another way, and that's okay.
I love creme brulee coffee.
Yeah, it is really good. I'm really glad that I remembered this week to go to Pick and Brew so that we have some new selections for K-Cup. So that's really good.
I love flavored coffee.
And, yeah, me too. And it's early in the day that we're recording, so you get to have a regular coffee without stressing about taking your melatonin before bed.
Yes.
So that was very, very good.
I'm very excited with that.
I have a TikTok.
You have
a TikTok. Guess what?
Yes, I downloaded TikTok onto my phone.
Now I can more easily send you TikToks that you don't like.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Let's take a look.
Right? Yeah. And I like the run in. Yeah. Oh. The tag in is really important. Yeah. I find not always, most of the time, a handful of the time that like I'm at my wit's end and then Bri is okay and then we can swap and do that. But not always does that work out.
No, and same with me. Like sometimes Scott comes in and picks up where I left off instead of coming back down here. He feeds off of my anxiety.
That's true. And then they explode
and accelerates the situation.
And you're like, no, I was hoping you'd come in at this. That's really good. I wonder. I feel like I should talk about that with Bri. I wonder if have you and Scott talked about that before?
He's mentioned it, and so I've realized now that
that's what's happening.
Because he comes in often, he's like, "You're making your mother upset," and I'm like, "Oh,
yes.
He's defending me right now."
Yeah, instead of coming back. That's really, really good point. What I find hard is probably similar. Yeah, it definitely is probably the exact same thing. That I'll say to Bri, like, this is stressing me out. And then because I'm stressed out, he gets stressed out trying to make sure everything's good. And then he ends up losing it. And then I'm like, no.
Now I'm dealing with a new issue.
This is not helpful.
Yeah, it's...
Versus if he's struggling, I just try to de-escalate, keep the peace, keep things calmer, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time anyway.
Yeah, the handoff is really tricky because I can feel myself just like the way she just flops on the couch, just draining.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing in me and I just need
sometimes that can be hours and sometimes that can be 2 minutes.
It's true.
Depending on where you're at or if you're tired or what's gone on or what the issue is. I found, remember I mentioned that last week was a fairly rough weekend with the kids. And so what day was it? It must have been yesterday, Saturday. No, was Friday the long weekend? No, tomorrow's long weekend. Oh, great. So Saturday it started and the kids were kind of bickery a bit. And I automatically was I felt what I had from the weekend before.
You were triggered.
I was triggered and I was like, oh my goodness. And I said to Bri, I think I'm still drained from last week. And he was like, really? I was like, drained's not the right word. It was that triggered from those feelings I was having last week. And
because the week doesn't fill you up.
What does?
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Oh. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean, it was just as busy and different things like that. But, so.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, Micah is so my child. So my child.
What did he do?
it was night time the other night for 20 minutes, worried, tears at times, worried about high school.
And he's in
He's in
kindergarten.
SK, 8 years away, and he's already worrying about that. He was worried that there's not going to be recess. And I said, at that point, you won't want to like play recess like you do now. You'll want to go downtown to get some French fries and hang out with your friends. And he's like, but I only know how to get to the Church of the Carpenters. And I was like, okay, by that point, you will know how to get back to the school. It'll be okay.
We're not giving you your driver's license
We're not like
until you
just so worried
Oh,
about
that's so
it.
funny.
And then the next morning or 2 days later, I think, I don't know, but he said, "Mommy, how many more days until I have to go to high school?"
I can't even figure that out. There's so many days.
I was like, dude, this is like,
Let's
and
get
then
you
we,
through first grade.
yeah, and we said like, we're not supposed to worry about tomorrow. We
Yeah.
focus on today and trust God and whatever. But I'm just like, he's so my child, and it makes me really sad that he's
I wonder
going
what
to
made
have
him think
that.
about high school, like whether they were talking about it at school or. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
Because we
I'm
already
not
know that they
sure.
don't have recess, and I wonder where that came from. Whether he watched it on a
Yeah,
show or something.
I don't
Or...
know, but I'm like, oh my child. And
Interesting.
I think I had mentioned like he had gotten sick at school and so he's been having nerves before school. It's cute, but we had talked about like having those nerves. So he'll be like, Mom, my nerve is bothering me again.
My nerve.
my nerve, my nerve is bothering me again. And so, he's been better at like giving the hug, seeing if he has to go to the washroom. But it's very sweet that my nerve is bothering me again.
Aw.
And we talked about like once he gets to school, he's good, and he did mention the other day too that he was nervous he was going to puke. And that wasn't even before school. That was like later in the evening. He was like, my nerves bothering me. I said, what's wrong? And he said, I'm afraid I'm going to puke at school. And I was like, oh, buddy.
It's crazy what anxiety does, eh? Like, just
Yeah.
the fear of wanting to throw up makes him feel like he wants to throw up, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And we were talking about, like, Renee is suffering from anxiety, and we think that it's manifesting in a fever.
Okay, so you have not had that conversation with me, but I have thought not exactly that, but I'm like, there's something else going on because she gets these fevers and then she's fine. And that makes complete sense. I was like, but I was just, it's like, there's something else. This isn't like a sick fever.
No.
But anxiety, that totally
Well, and that's what
could.
a friend of mine said. Anxiety does crazy things to your body.
Yeah.
She's like, I
Because a
100%
lot,
believe
yeah,
that you could worry yourself into a fever.
yeah.
It's
That's
crazy.
very, very true. So it'd be interesting to take note of when she's experiencing those fevers and stuff. But it's usually when she has gotten worked up or after that. So
Yeah, for sure.
that makes so much more sense than her like getting a fever and then being fine, then getting a fever and then being fine,
I
and
keep
no
saying,
other
like, are
symptoms.
you
Like
sure? Like, she's
it's
not sick.
no. So that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
Interesting. Speaking of
Yeah.
worrying, my kids have a lot of worries.
Mm.
It's really hard. Like, I don't remember as a kid, like, I remember having fears and stuff, but I don't remember being as terrified of things as my children are.
I had fears that just suppressed them, and then now they come out in depression.
That's
No,
yeah.
like I definitely had. I was and I was still ritualistic and like which I think often kids can be.
Yep.
But I'd always want my mom to say, what was it? Help our house not to burn down. Help nobody to break in. And kind of those things, and then like give me a kiss on both cheeks before bed, like
Interesting.
that kind
Those
of thing.
routines
Because
give you security.
yes, that having that control, right? And
Oh yeah. Well, my son is also struggling with some anxiety, and he is dealing with some fear around insects. He's always had a kind of fear of insects.
Yeah.
Was stung by a bee as a very young child, but that didn't seem to phase him too much. But last summer, a bee got into his shirt and stung him several times, and since then, it's definitely very increased. So we were
And we've noticed it more like now that it's spring.
the nice
Because
weather's
like
coming.
winter it wasn't that bad, right? Like he
No.
was okay, but now that spring
And
like
he has been complaining, like with the snow melting. I've heard him say things like, "Winter is his favorite season because there's no bugs."
Interesting.
And, like, he's not looking forward to the nicer weather.
Yeah.
But we were at our trailer this weekend, and we were having a hard time getting him to go outside. We finally got him to go outside, and then the storm hit. Well, he also has some fear.
It was a good storm.
Around storms. We were at a school picnic once, and a storm came up, and one of the parents was like being silly and was yelling things about like tornado and blowing away, and he was like in hysterics crying.
Yes.
And since then, storms have not been his favorite thing.
Yeah.
And so this storm came on, and it actually was a tornado.
There was places where it touched down, as there tornadoes. So.
And I could see that the sun, like, it got dark pretty quickly, and I was like, Scott, we have to find the kids now because I don't want them
outside with it. Yeah.
When the storm hits. And anyways, they were really close, and they got into our trailer, and I was so pleased because they had their friends with them, and they had so much fun through the storm that they didn't even notice. And I was so thankful because I know that it was a pretty big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm trying to suppress a yawn. I love storms. There was a time right after Cadence was born for like, I remember she was like 9 months and having a lot of fear. And I think it was that aspect of like, what if I can't protect her? But I've liked storms, and I feel like I maybe should have been more afraid. Like, I've been in 2 places where they've been hit by lightning, and I still really like storms. Open up the curtains, watch the storm. Like, I
like being in our sunroom and hearing the rain come down.
So must have been 2 years ago, I think. We had gone for a walk with the Davidsons to the fairgrounds, and we were walking back, and we all of a sudden the clouds like started coming in quick, and so we started on our way back, and it got super windy and rainy. Like, really, I think Christine might have been with us as well. And Micah just freaked out. Like, and he hadn't been afraid of storms or anything, but just freaked out. It was not helpful that Cadence was yelling, "We're all gonna die!"
There's always
and I was
right,
and I was just like, Cadence, and at first I'm like laughing, and then I realize what the effect is, and I'm like, oh goodness. So like I was walking with him behind me, like his head on my bum back, kind of, and me holding him, like getting him to come because it was like hitting him right in the face, and we were not prepared. And anyway, so about halfway back, Amanda finally was able to get a hold of Daryl, and he came and rescued us. But Micah struggled, and then he was a bit afraid of storms for a little bit. Now he seems okay. He occasionally will say like, "Oh, I like something about the storm," but he's much better. But I really like storms.
I like them when I feel safe and dry and warm.
That makes sense. Do you remember when we were doing ETOP, and we were sorry, this is probably a bad memory, but I actually loved it.
So ETOP was a camping program that our church ran when we were teenagers.
Yes, and it was a staff trip, right?
I don't remember.
I believe it was a staff trip, and all of a sudden we hadn't set up yet. Had just kind of gotten there, and all of a sudden this huge storm came. So we sat on a tarp, like all of us in a line, and then put the tarp over top of us.
That's so funny.
And do you remember?
No,
that?
I don't.
Okay, and you probably blacked it out of your mind because you were not happy. I think you were quite upset about it and nervous. And I felt bad once I realized you were nervous about it. Because yes, we're very like we're right out there, trees all around us, water beside. But I was laughing because I was like, this is awesome. This is so cool. Like you could feel the thunder underneath you, and you were not happy. I
remember one of the trips. and I don't know if you were on it or not because we didn't always go on the
No.
same trips, but we were sleeping and it started pouring and it rained so hard and so fast that the ground wasn't soaking it in, and we woke up
Yes.
to
Yeah, I was there.
like 5 inches of water. We were like
Yeah.
floating
Yeah.
in our tent.
We were all like, oh my goodness. Yeah. I was with, so we would, I'm pretty sure this was the time I was with the campers. So we would sometimes rotate out, sleeping with the campers. And I'm pretty sure it was my night with the campers because we woke up and I was like, oh my goodness. And I heard it rain and it kind of felt like something was changing. Yeah, we got wet.
It's crazy.
We got wet.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, it's interesting. So summer is kind of coming, May long weekend. Everyone's kind of like, oh, okay, this is starting to get into holiday time and all
Yes.
of that. And you guys switch things up a lot for the summer.
Yes, so we have a trailer at a campground, and we like to be there as much as possible because you got to spend a lot of money to be there, so you might as well use it. I know it makes you sad. Last year it was really nice because the schools were shut down and we were doing online learning,
Yeah.
and we have the internet there, so we
Yes.
actually moved up. We were already there by
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and we did schooling
yeah.
there from the trailer, which was really wonderful. So I was saying to someone the other day, I think the kids are going to be disappointed when school starts because they think that summer is like 4 months long
Yeah,
and it's only 10 weeks.
and that makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that, but yeah, you guys went up quite early.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you went up the first time this week and opened it up.
Yeah.
On Friday, and then came back for church,
Yes.
and then are heading back up
For the
again
rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really interesting to be maintaining 2 places and
during school.
just at all.
Okay.
Like it's easier like when I move up there basically for the summer.
Yes.
It's a lot easier, but I know it's hard. Like we're constantly back and forth, and that can be difficult. And like what's where? Like I have no hairbrush in the house today. I can't find one.
And the other one's at camp.
I know that there's one at camp because I took it
Yeah.
up to the camp, but
Yeah.
so I was like brushing my hair this morning.
It will. it has some waves in it today, so
Yes.
that's probably why. Yeah, it will take a little bit for things to get settled and to have what you need here and what you need there, and,
Yes.
and all of that.
But it is
so.
nice because when we're there, like, there's so much less clutter, and the kids have a lot of freedom, and there's just stuff to do and people
Yeah.
to play with, and it is really nice. And I do miss you, but you come visit, so that's
I do,
nice.
and it's nice that you have an attic room this year. So that's really,
The
really
extra
good.
space because we were all very cramped. There's too many people in my family for a tiny little trailer.
Yeah, so that's really, really cool that.
So yeah, we're excited. The kids are just itching to
They are.
get back there.
They want this to be over so then you guys can go back up.
Yeah. And I keep telling them it's like going to be raining.
Yes.
And they're like, I don't care.
Yeah, I just wanna be
wanna
there.
which is really
Yeah.
funny.
So we have something exciting that we're going to be doing. We mentioned it last week, and we are going to do a contest giveaway. So
Yes.
do you want to go over that?
Yes. So there's instructions that I'm supposed to read, I think. Or is that for the socials? I don't know.
No, I think it was mainly what we are doing. So I believe it's if you like or follow our Mom Talk.
To enter, like, follow the page, and tag a friend in the comments.
So you have tag a friend, and which would be Facebook, right? And
Yes.
or you can share from our YouTube to somebody else, and then tag them. And
Yeah,
stuff,
so like or follow the
Yeah.
page and tag a friend in
and
the
tag
comments.
a friend. And so we are putting a picture up, I believe, of the prize that we're going to give. We're excited about it. We've been kind of looking at ideas for the prizes, and I really, really like
What we've got.
What you got.
So we have a Christian coloring book, and it says, all I need is a little coffee and a whole lot of Jesus.
Yep.
Christian coloring book, and it looks beautiful.
Yes.
And then we have a box of Lindor chocolates, because they're my favorite.
They are.
I love Lindor
Yeah.
chocolates. And then we have this great
This
devotional.
this is awesome.
And it is called Because Crack is Illegal, a 30-day devotional for moms.
It grasps attention. But I'm realizing now, you said devotional. Then when you were showing Scott, I saw the mug. So I was like, oh, it must be just like a quote on a mug. And now I realize, no, it's a picture of the mug.
On the
cover of the book.
On the cover of the book. Yeah, because
yeah.
crack is illegal.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's perfect.
So
So that's our giveaway. So we hope that you participate, and it's just kind of a thank you for watching and
just
being a part of this journey with us.
We get to celebrate you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's very good.
So like us on Facebook. Give us the old thumbs up.
Yep.
And follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe, hit that bell to subscribe.
Apparently that's what the kids are saying
That's
these
what
days.
we've been told. Like,
and share the video.
follow, share, and comment.
You timed that extremely well.
Thank you.
Did you practice?
Not at all. So that's great. Thanks for following us.
We'll see you next week.